Welcome to another episode of the Love and Reality Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, we're going to be breaking down the first couple episodes of Battle Camp Season 1. The Netflix reality universe has come together for a reality slash docu-series return to face the ultimate physical and mental competition where a giant spinning wheel randomly decides who stays and who goes. In order to keep your name off of that wheel, our returning fan favorites need to be unbeatable in high-octane challenges, unbreakable in grueling punishments, and last but certainly not least, unhateable in camp, as everyone has a vote. The player who can achieve all three become the ultimate Netflix reality competitor and take home $250,000. Our cast includes QT from The Circle, Kyle from The Circle, Nick from The Circle, Shuby from The Circle, Trey and Lorenzo from Squid Game The Challenge, Avery and Tony from The Mole, Chase, Georgia, Luis, Bree from Too Hot to Handle, Irina from Love is Blind, Gio and Polly from Selling OC, Gabby and Morgan from Cheer, and Lexi from The Ultimatum. This is a strong cast. This is such an interesting show. Obviously, Netflix decided to drop all 10 episodes at one time. So I'm going to split them up, break them down for you guys, and share my thoughts on what unfolds in each of these episodes, like I always do. Before we dive in, thank you guys so much for the continued support of the Love and Reality Podcast. It has been awesome getting the love that I get each and every week. Currently covering Extracted, which is on Fox, which is ending this week. You can check out my interviews from that show. The Valley Season 2 I'm currently watching. Vanderpump Villa is coming back. And then, of course, we are jumping back into Vanderpump Rules Season 2 with my buddy Matthew Fox. Very, very excited to dive back into that world with each and every single one of you. So excited to talk about that. But without further ado, let's dive into Battle Camp Season 1 on Netflix. This is like becoming the universe that we've all been dreaming of, in my opinion, for Netflix. Because you know what? We love the love-based shows, but some of these people need to be more on a competition style show. And that's exactly what this showcase is here. We have our first three teams in the mix here. We have Team Wolves, which is Gabby, Louie, Irina, and Trey. And then we have Team Eagles, who's Lorenzo, Tony, Georgia, and Lexi. Then Team Bears, which is Shuby, Avery, QT, and Gio. Interesting mixes, to say the least. Obviously, Trey said the one person he didn't want to see was Lorenzo. Lorenzo said he's going to be worse than he was on Squid Games. Gio is here. I love me some Gio. Honestly, early on, I will have to say I love Louis a lot, but Avery, QT, Shuby, and Gio, like that was my team right away. Like right away, I was excited by this. And I love, one of my favorite things is like early on, like they really like just get right into the game. Like you show up and they're getting right into the game. Like they had a water relay right out the rip. You swim across the lake, they will tackle different obstacles, collect flags. The first is balance, second, strength, third, intelligence. The last, speed. Paddle to the tower, collect the last flag, and swim to the shore. And the first team to get all of their flags up wins immunity, with last place facing elimination. Again, I love it. I love the dynamic of just jumping headfirst into the show. Like we're not bullshitting around. We're not going to sit here and listen to them talk about X, Y, and Z for so long. So we jump right in. So let's jump right in with it, right? For balance, we had Avery versus Irina versus Georgia. For strength, we had Shuby versus Tony and Gabby. Like this was a weird dynamic to me. Like very, very confusing of why we would put Gabby and Shuby in strength, but nonetheless, intelligence, Lexi, QT, and Trey. And then, of course, we had speed rounding it out with Lorenzo, Gio, and Louie. Louie Gio versus Gio makes me like, we were right out the gate. Two of my favorite people already off the show. I love Gio from Selling the OC. I love Louie. Louie could be on every reality show for the existence of the world, and I would be the happiest person around. But Apparently, like when we start off swimming, Irina wasn't a very good swimmer. Georgia was first to the balance, makes it to the next round. Avery was close behind. Irina was really struggling. Um, yeah, again, like who let Tony just absolutely he destroys everybody in this strength competition. I don't see how you don't put Louis in this moment versus um versus at least Tony here because Tony just dominated real fast. First to get the flag, Gabby was second, putting them in second now. But poor Shuby finally gets it. Lexi gets to the next phase. However, she dropped a flag in the water and nobody saw it. So Trey slayed the puzzle. QT was able to catch up for the team, and the Wolves and the Bears catch up. Louis catches up, and Gio's catching up to him as well. A battle between my two favorites, as I said. Lorenzo's being a smartass and backstroking to victory. This was funny, right? Because Lorenzo's like, I'm going to win. Like, that's it. I'm going to win. But not knowing that he's so far ahead that he's one flag less. So because of that, Lorenzo realizes he doesn't have the last flag. Louis catches up and wins it for the Wolves. So the Wolves are in first, Bears in second, Eagles in last place. We are entering campgrounds. Tony is sad that there was no mirror. He's running around trying to find a mirror. The Wolves are sad pandas. Lorenzo calls out Tony for being too strong, but not smart. Lorenzo already gets like a brownie point in my book. Like, ching, brownie point. We're going to introduce the wheel. Every time Taylor spins the wheel, somebody will be going home. The first spin will be tomorrow night. The Wolves will not be on the wheel at all because they won the competition. All four of the Eagles' names will be on the wheel. The Wolves will get to pick 3 campmates to face punishment, and the 2 that lose will have their names added to the wheel as well. Everyone will then vote on who they want to go home, and you can be on the wheel more than once. Tony and Lorenzo are talking to Lexi and how she fumbled the bag. Tony is pissed, already trying to throw his teammate under the bus. Louis and Tony have a funny banter back and forth about how he would bench more than him. And then he says, I bench 4 plates. And then Louis was confused. Tony took all of like 3 seconds to find himself a new Hannah, this time with Gabby. He's in love with her already. Avery said she's trying to fly under the radar with her athletic background. Tony said he came from a snaky show. Like you were on the mole for like 3 seconds, Tony. Like 3 seconds. I mean, I hate to say it, but like, no. Like you're on the mole for 3 seconds and you literally fumbled because you were like smitten by somebody. You got played, bruh. The Wolves headed to the hut to figure out who they will partake in the punishment. They picked Gio, Lexi, and Avery. They will compete in a competition to have a wall. They will have to wall sit, basically. You sit against a wall. The longest lasting one won't be up for elimination. Lexi gave up first pretty fast, and then Gio out of left field gives up 2, meaning Avery won. Tony told Avery she should have thrown the competition, says he uses this, and then tells her that he's going to vote for Lexi. Avery tells her squad about Tony, what Tony said, and everyone is freaking out. The votes are in private, at least what we thought at first. Well, the votes are in private, but we kind of figure some stuff out. But so our first board is up, right? Our first wheel, our first elimination is incoming. Shuby, Lorenzo, and Georgia only have 1 vote on the board. They're getting no extra votes added. Lexi got 2 votes already and got a vote from Lexi, Avery, Gio, Shuby, and QT. She had 7 votes, and Tony is laughing hysterical. Avery also got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6 votes. Irina, Lorenzo, Lexi, Gabby, Louis, Georgia, and Trey all voted for her. And then Tony got no added extra votes. Lexi was our first competitor eliminated. I felt bad for her. You know what I mean? I really was rooting for her because I was like, I liked her. I liked her on her show. I thought she was good on the show. And I wanted to see what she was going to bring to the table here. And I just didn't feel like she get a long enough chance to showcase what she could be about. But obviously, that's part of the game. Somebody's eliminated. And then we find out when somebody's eliminated, somebody new is coming to the camp. Let's see here. Tony is happy as hell, and Georgia said he is so weird. The show is about exactly. The show's about likability, and if nobody likes you, your name's just going to keep going on that board. That to me is what the literal one of the three premises of the show is this likability because you don't want to be hated. All right. Polly from Selling OC has joined Team Eagles, and Tony said she is the girl version of him. And of course, my boy Gio is so happy. So our teams now are the Team Bears, which is still Shuby, Avery, QT, and Gio. And then Team Eagles is Lorenzo, Tony, Georgia, and Polly. And then Teams Wolves added to their team. Or no, sorry, Eagles added to their team. And then, of course, Teams Wolves is Gabby, Louie, Irina, and Trey. They must select one member of their team for a specific role. Initially, Irina they were leaning towards picking Irina, and she is doubting herself, which isn't really helping the team, which kind of questions everybody in this scenario. So ultimately, the Bears picked QT, Eagles picked Georgia, Wolves picked Trey. The drop is what it's called. Each person will stand on planks while their teammates at the hut answer questions. If they picked correctly, the first to three wins. So basically, they're standing on top of a plank. If they get it right, the person will drop from this big planked area, and it'll reward them with 1 point. So QT has to answer the question of who has the biggest ego. She picks Gio, which is accurate. I mean, he even says that. Gio says it has to be me. He was not wrong. So 1 point for the Bears. Eagles, same question. Of course, it's Tony. Big bag Tony, so scared of heights here. This was the funniest thing ever, in my opinion. And then Louie, on the other hand, is excited to be up there. Of course, Trey picks Louie. Irina talks them into picking Irina, and Louie gave her the flag. And everyone watching is freaking out because everybody in the world knew it would be Louie. Trey is pissed. Irina says now she could have excelled in this job. She flip-flopped. To me, I was excited for Irina, really hoping that she'd maybe get like this redemption arc on the show because she got the raw end of the stick in Love is Blind. I feel like she got a lot more hate than she deserved. Biggest game player, QT picked Avery, and she was holding the flag. Trey picked Louie. He was holding the flag. Georgia picked Tony. He was on the flag. All of those were correct. Which teammate is the most attractive? QT picked Avery. The team picked Gio. He said, I'm good. I'm a good-looking son of a bitch. I love that. Obviously, they didn't get the point. Trey picked Gabby, but they picked Louie, which I didn't understand this one either because to me, Gabby was the no-brainer. You know what I mean? Like Gabby to me was a no-brainer. No offense to Louie. Louie's a good-looking guy, but yeah. Georgia picked Lorenzo, and Tony and Lorenzo fight over the flag. He gave Tony the flag. Tony's a dumbass. Fuck Tony. Georgia said, "You think I'm attracted to you?" and said, "No, you idiot." I love her. First off, I love Georgia. And that's a theme for this entire show. She's fantastic. All right, which is the best ally? Trey picked Louie, and the team picked Gabby. Louie is confused as hell at them picking him. Again, another fumble of the bag. Trey said he picked him because they were good friends. QT picked Shuby. The team agreed. He's freaking out about it. Love me some Shuby. Georgia picks Tony, and the team picks Lorenzo. And Georgia second guessed herself, and Georgia is now upset. So Team Bears, Shuby, Avery, QT, and Gio are safe from elimination. Team Wolves, Gabby, Louie, Irina, Trey are up for elimination. I cannot honestly feel like Irina is on the verge of being knocked out here. Tony asked why I didn't get most attractive, and Georgia said Lorenzo is better looking. She said she had to base it off the whole challenge off Tony's ego. Facts. And now this is the other thing for me with Tony was I love that Georgia was just like straight ass called his ass out. That to me was like my favorite dynamic here. I loved it. Gio gives Polly the 4-1 on everything that has unfolded. Gio said Irina is his least favorite person. Team Bears, Shuby, Avery, QT, and Gio are the team that have to get picked to punishment. Submerged is the game inside an ice bath. Irina, Georgia, and Lorenzo are who got picked. Whoever can stay in the ice bath the longest, if they last 5 minutes, a horn will go off and they will have to go under. And then whoever lasts the longest underwater will win the competition. This one, that water was freezing, freezing cold. Lorenzo was making weird noises, saying his balls were frozen. All five make it to the 5 minutes, and all go under. Irina is the first out. They go over a minute and a half. Lorenzo comes up, and Georgia wins. Everyone, in my opinion, should be voting for Tony in this moment. Literally, everyone is voting for Irina. Irina is asking her team who they're voting for, and everyone's playing it off. And to me, it was kind of fucky how they did her. Um, yeah, I mean, Taylor called Tony an eagle with an ego, and I died laughing. Taylor, by the way, Taylor Lewan is a fantastic host of this. He was great. I wasn't sure what to expect from him, and he was brilliant in this. Let's see here. Irina said she was so blindsided, doesn't think anyone voted for Georgia. There was 11 spots left, and every single one of them was for Irina. Tony can't even watch. He turns around laughing. Irina walks off. Taylor approaches her, and Irina said she felt it in her core because she knew that they were acting a little bit funky. Her name is on the wheel 13 times, and Irina is gone. Our second person eliminated. First, we had Alexi go out. Our second person eliminated from the show is Irina. And again, kind of felt bad in this moment. I was hoping to see a little bit of a redemption arc for her because she kind of deserves it. And then kind of gets the shaft. She does a really solid exit interview. I don't know how you don't watch this. Like, Gabby was torn up for the elimination. We have reached the following. So it was crazy in this dynamic because they started to feel bad watching all these names go up. They blindsided her, they backstabbed her, and even Gio said, "Man, they should have at least let her know, hey, we're gonna vote for you." You know what I mean? That whole dynamic was crazy. And then furthermore, Louis tried to give her a hug. She's like, "Nah, fam." We get a little emotional speech from Irina on the way out, which you got to feel bad for. That was kind of a blindside. Maybe you see it coming, but at the end of the day, it wasn't exactly the warmest feeling in the world, I'm sure. Louis asked Gabby if she thinks Tony is hot. She said kind of, but apparently she has a boyfriend too. So now we have a new member of the Wolves. Bree is joining Louis, which is Louis is so happy. Louis is trying to slide Bree into Bree's DM / her bed over there. He is losing focus ASAP. This is like too hot to handle all over again. He said, "You look sexy." Bree said, "Don't start your shit." Everyone is making fun of the way they make eyes together. Tony is smitten by Gabby and trying to talk to Louis about it. And then, of course, Louis busts his balls about it. The next challenge, it's called Mask the Misery. One by one, each team will be tortured in front of the other two teams. It will appear that way. One team will actually have to endure the torture with the others faking it. They have to correctly identify who's hurting, and the winning team will get immunity. The first team up was the Team Wolves. Gabby, Louis, Trey, and Bree. I guess they don't know who it is. Louis is such a bad actor. They fooled him and scored a point. The Wolves got 2 points here. Team Eagles, moldy milkshake. One milkshake is gross. It's moldy blue cheese. They are fake vomiting. Louis is getting torn up. It was Tony, and the Eagles got 2 points. Chopping onions. Some will chop one would chop an onion, and then of course, the rest of them will be chopping apples. The Bears got both points. Lorenzo was hilarious in this competition. The Bears are eating the hot dog from hell. Shuby is fucking hilarious. This whole entire competition was hilarious to me. They all guessed Gio because they thought Shuby was overdoing it. But Shuby deserves an Oscar for his acting in this moment here. I thought it was hilarious. But yeah, he knocked it out of the ballpark, meaning the Bears won and have immunity, winning their second consecutive competition. Team Wolves, Gabby, Louis, Trey, Bree came in last, meaning they will have their names on the board. Then we have Louis and Bree end up in the bed together. These two are a little hot and heavy, kissing in the bed together. I was like, uh-oh. Speaking of which, guys, now that I have your attention, I have some interviews with the cast of Battle Camp dropping on my YouTube channel, which you'll be able to check out. And I do ask Louis about him and Bree and that relationship and see where that unfolded. But yeah, he gives us some behind the scenes tea about Too Hot to Handle, which I did not know about, and I don't think a lot of people did because they didn't air it. But you can check that up over on the YouTube channel. Let's see here. Everyone is talking about Louis. Tony isn't for it and is going to snitch on them to take out Paulie. So Tony heads over and snitches to Louis. Georgia is telling him to simmer down. She tells the camera she needs to vote for Tony. Exactly. Facts, bro. Facts. All right. Tony is so smitten by Gabby that he says he's going to propose to Gabby after he wins. She has a boyfriend, and she's using his ass the same way that Hannah used his ass on the mole. Shuby, Avery, QT, and Geo picking who's going to be punished. It's called Full Throttle. He didn't want to put Geo didn't want to put Polly's name on the board, but he also knew that he had to play ball. You know what I mean? Was very smart here. So it's Bree, Polly, Gabby are heading into the competition. Each will try to complete as many steps in 1 hour as possible. Polly is sad at Geo. Polly is like dancing, which is amazing. The competition seemed ruthless because again, you're just like stepping. The winner of the competition was Gabby, 8,504 steps, 7,700 for Polly, and 6K for Bree. Polly's name is coming up for gun, and Polly's name is coming up and gunning for Louis. On the flip side, her team is voting for Louis. Gabby votes Tony's ass alongside of Georgia, which was hilarious. All right, Gabby had 1 vote, but none at it. Bree and Louis is already on there twice. Louis once. Bree got votes from Avery and QT. Polly and Lorenzo voted for Louis, meaning they have 3 votes apiece up there. No, 4 votes for Bree, 3 votes for Louis. Polly got 1, and Trey, Louis, and Bree added 3 more. Tony got Geo, Shuby, Georgia, and Gabby. Tony is shocked and pissed all at the same time. And then Trey, Lorenzo, Georgia step up in the final vote to Trey via Tony. And then we see the power of the wheel. Because Gabby with 1 vote on the board. 1 vote. This is insane. That's why, like I said, you want to keep your name off the board. Because Gabby is gone. Gabby is gone. For 1 vote on the wheel, she is gone. Tony's already crying. Tony's back in front of the mirror. He's acting like a sad panda, said she deserved to stay. Louis freaking out knowing they lost a good player. Polly is thoroughly shocked at his actions. Tony snaps back at Polly. He was a dick to her for no reason at all. Better watch out, Tony. Team Bears figure out that Georgia might have voted for Tony as well as Gabby. Game playing. We see some game playing. All right, we're voting. We're replacing 1 person from cheer to another person of cheer. So Morgan steps in to join Teams Wolf of Louis, Trey, and Bree. She arrived and everyone is excited. Everyone is at breakfast but Tony. He talks to everyone and says, if I don't make people laugh, I'd rather not be in the environment when no one likes me. He said he can't control anything and he quits. He quit? He said, leaving on my note is the manliest thing I can do. Like, how did this? What a waste of fucking time. Like, why even be on the show? Like, what is going on? Like, what the biggest baby? I don't understand this dynamic. He acts like such a hard ass. And this is what you're giving us in return? You quit? You quit. I don't get the dynamic here at all. I completely befuddled. Like, I don't know. I don't know. This again, I don't know. But that being said, my dude from the Circle/Perfect Match, Nick, has entered the fold. So Nick is joining Lorenzo, Georgia, and Polly and the Team Eagles. I'm still so befuddled by this. I could not believe that he just quit. I don't know. I'm Oh man, again, like I said, nothing surprises me. I guess I don't know. You know, it is what it is. But it just kind of shocked me a little bit how we went through that whole dynamic, and he just ends up, quitting. So, yeah, I'm confused, probably just as much as everybody at home. But Nick is here. The next challenge is here. We are back at the wall with pole position. One member will be on the poles, and their teams will play cornhole one by one. They will have to hit the bag. The last person hanging wins. 2 rounds. The first team to win gets you immunity, while the round 2 is to keep your name off of the wheel. Round 1, Polly, Avery, and Bree are on the wall first. Everyone is targeting the Eagles right now, but Georgia is knocking it out of the ballpark. Polly's hanging on for dear life. Fall means she's the first to drop. Bree, this is where she showed she had some like straight baller moves. Like she jumped from one peg to the other peg, and it was awesome. Like this was a cool competition to see and highlight Bree as a collective whole. Team Bears, Shuby, Avery, QT, and Geo are safe for the third time in a row. Third time in a row. So it's Teams Wolves versus Teams Eagles. To find out who will be on the board, it's Louie versus Nick. Georgia literally carried the red team on her back, and she slayed this entire competition. Nick monkey bars from one side to the other, meaning Louis falls. The Team Wolves are back on the wheel for the third time in the row with Louie, Trey, Bree, and Morgan. Uh, couldn't believe it. Like this team, they just kept on losing. Shuby and Nick are happy to see one another, obviously. Morgan is teaching cheer to the crew, and Nick was hilarious. Louis hits a backflip. Bears get to pick who face punishment. It's called Spill, some sort of holding competition. They picked Nick, which kind of made Shuby sad. It was Nick, Trey, and Morgan to compete with the tray of drinks above their head. Trey ain't too happy with the Bears. Almost 10 minutes in, nobody has been eliminated. Morgan was the first gone. 22 minutes in, 30 minutes in, down goes Trey. Trey is mad because he thought he was protected. Polly tells Trey it's between Louie and Trey who she votes. She said Trey is more of a dangerous player. Trey throws Louie under the bus to Polly in order to save her in the future. Hell yeah. I mean, I'm just going to throw it out here. Polly should have seen it and be like, actually, I think backstabbing your own teammate makes you more of a threat than somebody that wouldn't, right? That to me is where I would be. That's what I would say. All right. So moving on to episode 5 here, Polly tells Gio that Trey told him to vote for Louie instead of him. Gio's not thrilled by it. Louie wants Nick out. Polly tells her fellow teammates about Trey. Now Gio's telling his team the same thing. Taylor said the game is about to be more brutal, that tonight's wheel will have a huge twist. Morgan has 2 votes. Georgia added Morgan's name. Lorenzo did the same, making it 4 votes. Lorenzo has no votes. Bree has 1 vote. Shuby voted for her, giving her 2 votes. Georgia has no votes. She's way more of a threat than people are seeing right now. And it's crazy to me how incredibly competitive she is. Like, she has been awesome at this game so far. Nick has no votes, but Avery, Gio, QT, Trey, Louie, and Bree, 7 votes total. Nick needs to stay. He makes me laugh, which obviously, and he would be funny with Louie. Polly got no votes. Louie and Trey are up. Louie said, we win together or lose together. That's my brother. Talking about Trey. Stabbed him right in the back. Stabbed him. Put 3 of Louie's name on the board. Trey has 1 of them. I don't like seeing Louie's name. And Louie goes home. Almost stopped watching the show. Louie's the entertainment. Bree was crying. I'm crying. Taylor said, we're not done yet, though. Double elimination. I felt bad for Nick in this moment. I wish it would have landed on Trey. It was hilarious to me because, like, Trey or Nick's name was up there. What was it? 7 votes and did not get eliminated by the double elimination. Crazy. Bree is gone. She said she isn't upset because she can leave with Louie. She walked into the camp room and tells him it was a double elimination and they will take their story somewhere else. Nick is speechless. This will be the last time they stand before them as 3 teams, as we are splitting into 2 teams. Trey tells Polly he's forever in her debt. Gio said he's going to take down Trey even if he goes down with him. And 2 more arrivals are scheduled to join camp. And that's where we're going to cut off this batch of me breaking down of battle camp. I broke down the first 5-ish episodes, and we will dive into the next 5 on the next batch of these. Thank you guys so much for the continued support of the Love and Reality podcast. As I mentioned, I have interviews currently with cast members Bree, Louie, Gabby, Gio, Polly, Georgia, Tace, Lorenzo, and Trey up on my YouTube channel. Make sure to check those out. Thank you guys so much for the continued support of the Love and Reality podcast. Please leave a 5-star review if you're listening on podcast platforms, and subscribe if you're right here on YouTube. Thank you guys so much, and I'll be back very soon to break down the next batch of Battle Camp.